Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, a man who tried to escape the Somerset County Courthouse earlier this month has been given his sentence.
Plus, the city of Bangor is considering the construction of a traffic circle downtown, but is being met with pushback.
And we'll get an inside look at a local historical society to learn what life was like for residents long ago. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have all the latest news coming up, but first a check of the weather. We're keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Helene, of course, which is moving towards Florida. I know a lot of folks up here will be watching that closely. They have ties to Florida. Around our neck of the woods, though, it looks like more of a cloudy day today with some sprinkles moving in, maybe some more persistent rain as we head toward that weekend.
We could definitely use it.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the perfect fit for your new fall footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, here we go. Some areas of dense fog across parts of Washington County this morning, but overall, most of us looking very nice with no issues whatsoever with the fog, pretty much for the most part. But otherwise, we do have a small crowd advisory that is posted until 8 p.m. for your Thursday along the coast. We do have active surf that we're dealing with in those areas. On land, we are watching clouds that are tracking in from the south and west and going to the north and east. We're dry for now, but sprinkles will be on the way as we get the daytime period going. Here's the system right about here tracking from the south and west going to the north and east. That'll bring that rain in our direction, especially later on tonight and especially as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. Futurecast showing a few sprinkles possible today, maybe some light showers, maybe a few breaks in the clouds from time to time too, but especially for your Thursday, that's when the rain will begin to move in. As for the winds, not too bad for us today, roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour at best. The winds will start to pick up a little bit, and I mean just a little bit, as we head towards the daytime period tomorrow. So for today, we have middle 60s, mostly cloudy, some sprinkles possible, and a southeast wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a mostly cloudy sky, sprinkles possible, temperatures in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you later on. A Fairfield man who tried to escape from a courthouse has received his sentence. 31-year-old Nicholas Carter was convicted earlier this month of assaulting a child. The boy, who was an infant at the time, underwent 3 brain surgeries and lost vision in one eye. According to the Morning Sentinel, Carter received a sentence of 20 years on Tuesday. He'll serve 10 of that in prison and several years of probation. It was back on September 11th. Carter attempted to escape after he was found guilty. He bolted from the courthouse in handcuffs, but was held by 2 jurors after he tripped once he got outside. Extra security was on hand yesterday when he received his sentence.
Fire crews from multiple towns battled a stubborn fire in Newburgh Tuesday afternoon. First responders say fire was showing as they arrived at the structure on North Road. We're told that the garage was being used to store and work on race cars. The fire started in one of those cars while it was on a lift. A priority for the departments was to save a house that was very close to the garage. Water supply was a factor, but crews were able to stamp out the fire, saving the nearby home. However, the garage was a complete loss.
Well, a close call yesterday afternoon when a person drove his car into a business on the Hogan Road in Bangor. According to Bangor Police, the call came in shortly after 3 o'clock for a crash at Vibes Cafe. The driver of the vehicle stated that they believed the car had a mechanical problem. There were no injuries reported, but the building did sustain some damage, as you see there. Police say there are no charges at this time.
A big mess in Dennistown Plantation. A truck carrying pre-built walls for home construction rolled over near Jackman on Monday. One local fire department says it happened when the driver fell asleep while driving on Route 201. They say it was around 7 Monday morning when the rig drifted from the roadway and struck a utility pole before rolling over. The cab was crushed, but the driver found a small opening to crawl free. He suffered only minor injuries.
Well, a man who crashed a bicycle in Acadia National Park has died. 70-year-old John Bennett Parrott of New Hampshire was traveling on the Park Loop Road on September 9th when his foot became loose from his pedal. He crashed, and even though he was wearing a helmet, Parrott suffered significant head injuries. We've learned that he passed away just 2 days later.
All 186 seats in the Maine legislature are up for grabs in this November's election. Local political experts spoke with business leaders and talked about expectations at a virtual webinar hosted by the Maine State Chamber of Commerce. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard has more.
We look kind of just maybe generically heading into the various state legislative contests we're looking at. I would say the advantage is for Republicans.
Mark Brewer is a professor and chair of the political science department at the University of Maine. Speaking with business leaders on Tuesday, Brewer says the reason why he thinks Republicans are at an advantage in state-level races this November is because for a while now, Democrats have controlled the Blaine House and both chambers of the Maine legislature.
Oftentimes, the electorate, particularly when they might be in the mood for change, which I think some voters in Maine are this cycle, that increases the odds that we might see a change in party control somewhere. And obviously, the Blaine House is not up.
As far as races he's watching to possibly predict who controls the legislature, one of the key races is House District 1, where Democrat John Martin, looking to return to the legislature, faces off against Republican Lucian Daigle.
What makes that seat interesting to me is that Aroostook County, St. John Valley in particular, has become increasingly Republican in recent years. Democrats holding seats up there is rare.
In the 2022 election, there was only one Democrat to win legislative races in the county, Senate President Troy Jackson, who is termed out and not running in this election. Another race Brewer is keeping his eye on is the race for Orono's Senate seat, District 8, between incumbent Democrat Mike Tipping and Republican challenger Leo Kenny.
I think that race is very interesting. We are seeing national money come into that race, which I've never seen in this. Since I've been here now 20 plus years in this area, I've never seen that in this district.
With 6 weeks left until Election Day, and ballots already sent out to uniformed and overseas voters, we'll have to see how control of the legislature plays out. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, Penobscot Community Healthcare has informed their patients that on Wednesday, October 2nd, the Winterport Community Health Center will be shutting down and ceasing healthcare services. PCHC says their Winterport location has suffered from poor provider retention and turnover in primary care for several years now, and, quote, the overhead associated with running a small practice like Winterport is no longer a sustainable option for PCHC. Utilizing the Winterport building for a new project is a possibility, but the organization says those plans have not yet been developed. Penobscot Community Healthcare says they're currently focused on finding new providers for the affected patients and also supporting staff members through that transition. They say there are no plans to close any of their other practices.
Question 2 on this November's ballot will ask voters if they favor a $25 million bond. That bond would fund research, development, and commercialization for Maine-based public and private technology institutions. The group Invest in Maine's Future is a coalition formed by the Maine State Chamber of Commerce that's working to support the bond. In Brewer yesterday at the defense technology company Computech, the coalition held a press conference to officially launch its campaign. Speakers included Bangor Region Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Deb Newman, Computech co-founder Paul Melrose, and MDI biological lab researcher Corey Johnson. Newman spoke about a similar research project and development bond that was approved by Maine voters back in 2017. According to Maine.gov, that $45 million bond created over 1,700 direct jobs and nearly double the amount of indirect jobs.
Maine is 44th out of 50 states in R&D spending. 44th out of 50 states. That is the wrong side of the chart. Maine is known as a leader, and our ranking in R&D funding should reflect that.
If question 2 passes, Newman says the Maine Technology Institute would oversee the competitive grant review and award process.
The City of Bangor has announced they will be temporarily cutting back their bus schedule. Starting on October 5th, the city's Community Connector service will not be running on Saturdays until further notice. The closure applies to all routes and the transit center. According to the city officials, this change comes as they face operational and staffing challenges.
The City of Bangor and the Community Connector have been trying to avoid this scenario now for weeks. Unfortunately, circumstances have led us to this point. However, we continue to seek out the solutions necessary to bring Saturday service back as quickly as possible.
Well, according to O'Donnell, they considered multiple options, but Saturday service has the lowest ridership. They hope this temporary change will help lessen the pressures on drivers. The Community Connector continues to actively recruit new staff members. Anyone interested in applying is encouraged to visit the City of Bangor's website.
There could soon be some major changes coming to downtown Bangor. The city is considering preliminary recommendations to make transportation and streetscape improvements to the area. Our Grace Blanchard explains.
A big makeover could be on its way to downtown Bangor. The city is reviewing proposals such as adding bike lanes, changing angled parking to parallel spaces, and even transforming traffic lights into roundabouts. Community members have had mixed reactions.
I'm not sure they're necessary because I don't see any need for it. I zoom through Bangor all the time and I don't see the need for that kind of expense.
This comes as the city is conducting a study to reduce congestion and improve pedestrian and traffic safety.
I've almost been run down by cars twice, just trying to get into my shop.
Many downtown business owners say the current layout of the area creates challenges for their businesses and their customers.
We have so many customers that come, oh, I couldn't find parking, it's so hard to... So yeah, that's a big problem in downtown.
The biggest complaint I hear from visitors is that it's hard to traverse downtown because there's not a lot of wayfinding signage.
The owner of the Briar Patch hopes the city will also review improvements for those with disabilities.
I think the goal of any changes made to downtown should be to make it easier, more navigable, and more welcoming.
City officials are encouraging people to fill out a survey regarding the proposed changes, which is available on the city's website. In Bangor, I'm Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
At the very least, we need some signage for sure, because I feel bad for people just visiting Bangor for the first time having to figure out how to drive in downtown Bangor.
A little confusing unless you know all the one-ways and things like that.
Right. It requires being kind of intuitive, which is not good when it comes to the roads. All right. The time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, it's a new beginning for Bangor's Legacy Sandwich Shop, which won't be closing after all. We'll meet the new owner who plans to give the business new life.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. A cloudy day ahead today with a chance of sprinkles, highs around 64 degrees. Cloudy with areas of fog overnight. More steady rain moving in with lows dropping down to around 50. Tomorrow, just a rainy day on the way with highs near 58. We'll be right back.
Our country is counting on Bath Iron Works. 6,500 men and women building the most advanced naval ships in the world right here in Maine. So when extremist politicians threaten our jobs, I have to speak out. Austin-Ontario supported shutting down the government. We could have lost the Navy contract that keeps Bath Iron Works running. Austin-Ontario put his extreme agenda ahead of our jobs.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this ad. When Magoon's Transportation and Energy in Osborne want to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Magoon's Transportation and Energy provides limited propane services to eastern and central Maine, including but not limited to tank recertification, cage accounts, cylinder exchanges, and more.
I have prepared a Thomas's breakfast for you to savor together.
Thanks, Tom. Hey, are English muffins from England?
Heavens no, they're from the pantry.
Are you from England?
Nay, I am also from the pantry. Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
A family-owned and operated business since 1953, Hammond Lumber Company recognizes the value of their team members and the importance of employee satisfaction. Hammond is honored to have been named one of the best places to work in Maine for the 4th consecutive year, and Hammond was once again selected as one of the best places to work in New Hampshire by Business New Hampshire magazine. Hammond is always looking for great people to join their team. To find your place on the Hammond team, click on the careers link at hammondlumber.com.
Legacy Volunteers of Bangor are looking to recruit new volunteer tutors to teach Bangor area adults who aspire to have a better understanding of the English language. The nonprofit has been helping Bangor area adult students for 55 years. According to Executive Director Mary Taylor, they currently have around 200 volunteer tutors and 200 adult students. Tutoring sessions typically happen once a week for 1 to 2 hours, and one volunteer says it's an extraordinary joy to help someone learn what many consider to be a difficult language.
This is my way of paying it forward. My journey has been education. Saved me from a life of poverty. We're able to see how their lives are completely different today from the first day we met them, and that's gratifying.
From 6 to 8 p.m. on October 16th at Eastern Maine Community College, the nonprofit will host a certification training for new tutors. For those interested in attending, visit lvbangor.org.
The public comment period on the proposed expansion of the Juniper Ridge landfill has now been extended to this Friday. According to the Maine Department of Environmental Protection, the comment period was originally supposed to end on September 20th, but was extended due to public request. The Juniper Ridge landfill is owned by the state of Maine and is located in Old Town and in Alton. If approved, Maine DEP says the landfill footprint would expand by 61 acres and add 11 years to its operating capacity. After the public comment period ends on Friday, the department says they'll issue a final decision on October 2nd.
After initial plans to close its doors, the legacy continues. The owner of Legacy Sandwich Shop in Bangor announced that it would be closing, but plans have changed. It now has new owners. Robert Kearns is one of them. Kearns says he's worked for several sub shops over the years. He says they plan to keep the original menu with some daily specials.
Bangor has lost a lot of wonderful restaurants and businesses from COVID and maybe a little lack of workers and such, and we're long life customers here. And my partner just was in tears hearing that this was going to close, and just thought we can't let that happen. So conversation started, and here we are.
They will also be adding a line of freeze-dried candy and hot sandwiches. Kearns says he looks forward to meeting everyone who has supported Legacy Sandwich over the years.
They have great food there too, so best of luck to them.
I know, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
The time now is 8:17. After the break, a state of emergency has been declared in Florida as the state rushes to prep for what could be the most severe hurricane of the season.
We'll have the very latest on the storm and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
The ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Rogue Platinum.
Washington politicians allowing lobstermen to struggle, not just with higher inflation or with more regulations. They're allowing Canada to lobster in our waters, decimating our lobster population, stealing natural resources from our next generation.
Washington lets Canada steal from our lobstermen. They play politics while Mainers paid the price. It's time we put people over politics. I'll hold Canada accountable and fight to protect our way of life. I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
When you want something, you pursue it. And with vitiligo, the pursuit for your pigment is just the same. It's time you found a proven choice to help restore what's yours. Opzelura is the first and only FDA-approved prescription treatment for non-segmental vitiligo, proven to help repigment skin over time, restoring what's yours. It really is possible with a steroid-free cream that you can apply yourself.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB or hepatitis B or C. Serious lung infections, skin cancer, blood clots, and low blood cell counts occurred with Opzelura. In people taking JAK inhibitors, serious infections, increased risk of death, lymphoma, other cancers, and major cardiovascular events have occurred. The most common side effects were acne and itching where applied.
Repigmentation is possible. Ask your dermatologist today about starting or refilling Opzelura. Pursue it.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
The ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Rogue Platinum.
People in Florida are now bracing for impact as Tropical Storm Helene makes its way toward the state's western coastline.
Evacuation warnings are in effect as Helene is predicted to hit as a large, dangerous hurricane. Fox News' Kevin Uretsky reports.
If you're in an evacuation area, we want you to leave.
Tropical Storm Helene is forecast to become a dangerous hurricane before making landfall in Florida Thursday. The clock is ticking for Floridians to prepare or get to safer ground.
This is a very strong, very serious storm, and the storm surge is really something we haven't seen in this area forever.
On top of a life-threatening storm surge of up to 15 feet in the Big Bend region, Helene is expected to bring damaging winds and heavy rainfall.
You've got the rest of the day today and all day tomorrow. So as long as people are where they need to be by the end of the day, and we recommend if you're going to evacuate, don't wait until it's dark.
Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency for 61 of Florida's 67 counties. He said at least 3,000 members of Florida's National Guard are ready, as well as the Florida State Guard. Extra linemen are on the way, and the state has hundreds of Starlinks to deploy in case internet access is lost.
We protect life and limb and then restore the services with both the power and any other services that are interrupted to get people back to normal. So we obviously hope for as small of interruption as possible, but we got to prepare for a big one.
Other states in the southeast are also under hurricane warnings. Helene's projected path runs right through Georgia and Tennessee later this week. Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp declared a state of emergency Tuesday. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Of course, Mainers have a lot of interests down in Florida. Some of them have property there. We will be keeping a close eye on the storm. As far as our weather is concerned, it looks like we'll get a little rain over the next couple of days, but no big deal.
I sound like a broken record. We could definitely use it. There's kind of drought conditions right now in certain parts of the state.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the perfect fit for your new fall footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, here we go. Some areas of dense fog this morning, but overall we're looking pretty good across our neck of the woods. Any fog being reported maybe across parts of Washington County. Looks to be about it. Maybe a small area further off towards the west. But meanwhile, we do have a small crowd advisory posted along the coast, and that will last until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday. Wave heights continue to remain active in those areas at around 6 feet according to the buoys, but really active further out towards sea. 10 to 11 feet being reported according towards some of the buoys, at least at this time. On land, not too bad. Clouds are approaching this morning. We'll be watching for more clouds throughout the daytime period today. Some sprinkles or light showers can't be ruled out. Better opportunities for rain will arrive later on tonight, especially as we head towards the daytime period tomorrow with the system right here that's tracking off towards the north and east. Now check this out. We now have Tropical Storm Helene intensifying quickly. Look at this right here. These darker clouds here indicating the colder cloud tops, and that definitely indicates a strengthening tropical storm right now with sustained winds. That's how we classify this at around 60 miles per hour. We do have tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings posted even through parts of Florida, so that's the main concern as rapid intensification is expected with the system as they're now forecasting 120 miles per hour. That's a Category 3 hurricane as it makes landfall Thursday evening in Florida, so time's running out for those people in that area to prepare. So if you know anyone down there, make sure they're paying attention to the system rather closely and prepared to evacuate. Back here at home, we just have clouds passing through with a few chances for sprinkles or light showers today. Later on tonight, we'll be watching for more rain that will be on the way. Better opportunities for the rain will get going as we head towards your Thursday. Some heavy downpours will be possible at times, and the rain will finally start to clear out a bit as we head towards Thursday night and parts of early Friday morning. But however, a few showers will remain. As for your forecast for today, we do have middle 60s, mostly cloudy, sprinkles on the way. Southeast wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, lower 50s, mostly cloudy, some fog possible. Showers moving late with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, upper 50s, rain likely. Areas of dense fog on the way. Southeast wind getting up to around 20 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. More showers possible Friday with highs in the upper 60s. Upper 60s again for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy and a little warmer on Sunday with highs in the low 70s.
I'm a Republican.
I'm a Republican. A Maine Republican.
Not one of those Washington Republicans like Mike Johnson.
They want to slash Social Security and Medicare. and raised the retirement age to 70.
They handpicked Austin Theriault to run for Congress.
And they'll control him in Washington. But Jared Golden works for us.
Jared will stand up to both parties to protect Maine seniors.
We can trust Jared. He fights for us.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out Half Off Fun from foxbangor.com.
Ready to conquer the trails? At Huff Power Sports, we've got you covered. Gear up with snowmobile accessories and check out our unbeatable deals on K&M ATV and UTV vehicles. Plus, our expert service team will keep you running all season long. Huff Power Sports, where adventure meets performance.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with Half Off Fun from foxbangor.com.
25 words or less.
Wallpaper.
We have 30,000 ways to thank our loyal fans.
I love watching people win money that's not mine.
Win one of 3 $10,000 cash prizes.
Courtroom leader.
The judge.
By watching from home and scanning our QR code.
You just won the game, guys!
It's the 30K Thanks Arama giveaway.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
As the fighting grinds on in Gaza, the conflict on Israel's northern border is seeing a big escalation this week. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Togan has more from Haifa, Israel.
More back and forth fire between Israel and Hezbollah as the two sides inch closer to an all-out war. On Monday, the IDF significantly escalated its offensive, hitting more than 1,500 targets and causing more than 500 deaths. Hezbollah responded with stepped-up attacks against cities and towns in northern Israel. Israeli leaders are now reportedly considering a ground offensive if Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah orders his forces to keep attacking.
If he doesn't pull his forces back and stop shooting into northern Israel, Israel is going to commit to an air and ground war to force him to do that.
The death toll in Lebanon is now at its highest since the 2006 war between Israel and Lebanon. But Israel says this time it's different, and they're relying more on precision airstrikes they say can locate and take out militants before they threaten Israeli civilians.
We're talking about heavy missiles with hundreds of kilograms of warheads pointed towards Israeli civilians, and we are committed to do so as long as Hezbollah keeps fighting.
Both Hamas and Hezbollah are backed by Iran, which has promised retaliation against Israel for the killing of a Hamas leader in Tehran last month. But their response to this latest escalation has been measured, calling on the international community to stop the violence.
We are concerned about the repetition of disasters like those that happened in Gaza, and therefore we demand immediate intervention by the UN.
The State Department is now urging all Americans to leave Lebanon before this conflict escalates further. In Haifa, Israel, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
AP News reported that early this morning, Hezbollah launched a missile at the headquarters of an intelligence agency in Tel Aviv, being its deepest strike yet into Israel.
Meanwhile, a new government watchdog report signals the alarm on outdated air traffic control systems, finding that many are in need of urgent updates and new spare parts. Nearly 80% of the U.S. air traffic control systems are considered, quote, unsustainable or potentially unsustainable. According to a new report from the Government Accountability Office, the federal watchdog warns that there could be safety risks in the U.S. airspace if the FAA continues to rely on these systems. FAA Administrator Michael Whitaker testifying on Capitol Hill that the agency's facilities have been underinvested in over the years. He also adds that while progress has been made, Boeing has to make significant changes too. Whitaker told lawmakers a full turnaround from Boeing could take years to complete.
A potential dock worker strike could lead to a fruit shortage at some grocery stores. 45,000 dock workers with the International Longshoremen's Association are threatening to strike as they seek a new contract by October 1st. A strike could stall distributions at major American ports that supply popular fruits such as bananas, which could result in empty produce sections or extreme price hikes. Produce experts say any fruit that comes in during a strike will likely spoil and be thrown away. Industry experts predict a dock worker strike could cause a roughly $7.5 billion loss for the economy. The union is demanding an 80% pay increase over the next 6 years, as well as more restrictive language on automation in the workplace. All right, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll take a step back in time at the Hamden Historical Society and hear about some mysteries in the town.
That and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
How do you set a new standard? The Chevy Equinox EV does it inch by inch and mile by mile, so you can save and save. America's most affordable EV with an over 315-mile range. When you're ready to go EV, Chevy's got you. Current qualified competitive lessees can get this well-equipped Equinox EV for around $239 a month. Visit your Maine Chevy dealer.
Hood is the cottage cheese lovers love. Start with our award-winning country style. It's delicious on its own, or like this. That. Even, sure. Plus, it's got more protein than hummus and less sugar than yogurt. Then there's Hood's flavors. We expertly blend in real fruit or savory herbs for an unbeatable taste combination you can't recreate at home. Now that's cottage cheese. Hood cottage cheese. Always good, always Hood.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. Today is also National Lobster Day.
What is your favorite way to eat lobster? Or do you not like it at all? This famous Maine staple can be eaten so many different ways, whether it's just straight up with butter in a lobster roll, either warm or cold, or cooked into innumerable dishes like lobster mac and cheese or an omelet. So if you're a fan of lobster and it's within your means, support a Maine lobster fisherman today. I know some local places like Beals in Southwest Harbor have deals, whether you're going there or you're ordering from there, but all sorts of great places to get a lobster roll. I know some local favorites are Eagle's Nest.
Yeah,
that's one of the ones right outside of Bangor. I think McLaughlin's is pretty good too.
Yeah, pretty cheap too. You go get yourself some lobsters. It's pretty inexpensive these days. Make your own lobster
As far
rolls.
as lobster goes, it's still an expensive protein, but
Yeah, it's pretty cheap though. What's the most unusual way you've had lobster?
in eggs.
In eggs? Yeah,
Yes.
I have in eggs. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, and really good in eggs too.
I like a lot of things in
yeah.
eggs though, and
Yeah.
that type of, I find it perfect.
Yeah.
You don't think of seafood in eggs that often,
No,
but
I was
it's great.
with a buddy down in Stonington one time, and he was going to cook up lobster. He fried it. He cracked the lobster and fried it with butter, and I was like, really? It was delicious. So
Wow.
try that sometime. It's something a little different. Changes the texture.
I do want to try different things because it does kind of make me sick to have to kill them alive in a boiling pot of water. That does bum me out.
Yeah.
I want to experiment with different ways to do it more humanely.
Yeah, I did a story with UMaine researchers many years ago, and it made me feel better about the whole situation. They said lobsters' nervous system are not developed enough to feel pain, so they don't feel pain according to them.
According
when
to
they go
them.
in. I'm just sticking with what they said.
Right.
This was done a while ago, but yeah, they said they don't feel pain.
We'll have to double check with them and do another story.
I don't want to double check.
I know. I know, because it's like the worst way ever to go.
Right. Yeah. I hate that part of it too.
know.
I've cooked hundreds and hundreds of lobsters over the
so
years.
good though. I'm going to continue to eat it. I'll just have somebody else do it.
Yeah. Bad. All right, time for history. On this day in history, back in 1777, the city of Philadelphia, which at the time was the American capital, was occupied by British forces during the American Revolution. In 1890, Sequoia National Park was established by President Benjamin Harrison. It was California's first national park and the country's second. In 1911, groundbreaking began in Boston for Fenway Park. Think of the history there over the years.
Yeah, right. That's a long time ago.
And in 1926, Henry Ford announced an 8-hour, 5-day work week for workers at the Ford Motor Company. Before that, it was all over the place. Some people might have to work 10 hours a day.
Right. Even after that, just because Ford did it, it still wasn't a law. Other people were just like, oh, that's a good idea. And strikes continued to happen in increasing regularity.
Right. Working 7 days a week in some cases, you know.
Right.
So.
Which a lot of people still do that now.
They do.
Out of necessity.
Yeah.
In 1978, a Boeing 727 and a private Cessna plane collided over San Diego, killing 144 people. In 1981, Sandra Day O'Connor was sworn in as the first female Supreme Court justice. In 1989, Boston Red Sox Wade Boggs was the first to get 200 hits and 100 walks in 4 consecutive seasons.
One of Boston's greats.
Have they retired his number? I don't know if they have.
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll have to Google
I know
it.
he left Boston. Didn't he go play with the White Sox or something for a while after that? So,
I don't know.
Yeah, he was part of that one of those great teams at the time. Fun to watch. So.
Right.
For birthdays today, we have actor Will Smith, who is 56 years old today. Actor Michael Douglas is 80, and actor and rapper Donald Glover is 41 years old today. So happy birthday to all of them. A bunch of guys.
A lot of talent today for birthdays.
Yeah.
All right, moving on now. It's going to be a cloudy day, more so than yesterday even, and it seems like we're gearing up for some rain.
We need the rain. It's also good movie weather, so if you want to go watch a movie somewhere.
I've been considering it.
Yeah, good day to do it.
Here's Devin Diggs with the forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the perfect fit for your new fall footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, here we go. Some areas of dense fog across parts of Washington County this morning, but overall, most of us looking very nice with no issues whatsoever with the fog, pretty much for the most part. But otherwise, we do have a small crowd advisory that is posted until 8 p.m. for your Thursday along the coast. We do have active surf that we're dealing with in those areas. On land, we are watching clouds that are tracking in from the south and west and going to the north and east. We're dry for now, but sprinkles will be on the way as we get the daytime period going. Here's the system right about here tracking from the south and west going to the north and east. That'll bring that rain in our direction, especially later on tonight and especially as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. Futurecast showing a few sprinkles possible today, maybe some light showers, maybe a few breaks in the clouds from time to time too, but especially for your Thursday, that's when the rain will begin to move in. As for the winds, not too bad for us today, roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour at best. The winds will start to pick up a little bit, and I mean just a little bit, as we head towards the daytime period tomorrow. So for today, we have middle 60s, mostly cloudy, some sprinkles possible, and a southeast wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a mostly cloudy sky, sprinkles possible, temperatures in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. Volunteers with the Hamden Historical Society are helping to preserve the town's past by sharing with visitors a little insight into the lives of some of the town's most famous residents.
Our Jody Hersey has more.
We need new buildings, but we also need to remember our past and where we've been.
Jean London is a longtime volunteer and tour guide with the Hamden Historical Society, which operates out of the Kingsley House. This home was once owned by Martin Kingsley, a Harvard graduate, postmaster, circuit court judge, and representative to both the Massachusetts legislature and U.S. Senate.
When people come through, I ask them if they know why the door is so wide. It's because they had to have the funerals in their own homes, and they had to be big enough to swing a casket through.
Unfortunately, Kingsley experienced a lot of loss in his life. London shared that Kingsley and his wife had 13 children together, but this is the only one that lived into adulthood. Among the home's furnishings, visitors will find this monogrammed K located in the railing of the stairwell.
If you paid off your mortgage, you had a party, you burned it, you had the ashes, you put the ashes in here. Then if people came to see, they'd say, oh, they're rich. They've paid off their mortgage.
Former Vice President Hannibal Hamlin's law office is also located on the property.
The desk is a copy of Hannibal Hamlin's desk.
The Historical Society also shares information with visitors on pioneer and philanthropist Dorothea Dix.
She didn't have a connection with this house per se, but she was a Hamden person, and we tried to save information we can find about her.
Karen Bagley, the vice president of Hamden's Historical Society, says no matter where you are from, history is important for all of us.
And it's a good way to show where we've come from, what we've learned, and where we're going.
In Hamden, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
I've always wanted to stop in there. I was talking with Jody yesterday. She said if you want to go this season, you'll want to go pretty soon. They're only open on Tuesdays, and that's only through the month of October, so get in there quick.
Yeah, all right.
All right, right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have the latest with sports.
Don't go away.
The past few years have been challenging for law enforcement, but one thing we've never had to worry about is whether Jared Golden will watch our backs in Washington. Jared isn't afraid to stand up to his own party to keep Mainers safe, voting for billions of dollars for state and local law enforcement and to secure the border. Austin Terrio is something else. He voted against millions of dollars for the state police because the budget came from the other party. We need leaders who put public safety first, and that's Jared Golden.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
Class-leading safety features at every turn. A Hyundai Tucson.
Lease an all-wheel drive Tucson for $229 a month, or get 1.99% APR or up to $1,250 bonus cash. See your local Bangor Hyundai dealer.
Need your car fixed? You got somebody. Need your roof repaired? You got somebody. Need electrical work? Here's your somebody. The team at Ideal Energy Solutions is ready to tackle anything electrical in your home. From upgrading your service to handle today's appliances and heat pumps to whole house wiring, Ideal Energy Solutions is your somebody. Contractors for residential and commercial work. Don't settle for less than ideal. Go with Ideal Energy Solutions. Call today.
Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Grab a cup, fill it up, top it off, weigh it up. Here at Sweet Frog, you are in total control. Sweet Frog, where our secret ingredient is fun.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
The stage is set.
What the heck is that? You guys are all missing the biggest clue.
The Masked Singer premieres tonight on Fox.
Basketball season is right around the corner. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. The Boston Celtics banner-raising ceremony and their opening day is less than a month away, and on Tuesday, we got to hear from them for the first time this season. After taking down the Mavericks in 5 games in June to win their first NBA title since 2008, the Celtics had a great offseason. They re-signed Derek White and Sam Hauser, gave Jason Tatum an extension. For Tatum and the C's other star, Jaylen Brown, it was a busy summer for them. Brown was left off of the Team USA Olympic team. Tatum went to France with the gold medalist, but hardly played. Both say that could be some extra motivation, but right now they are back at it with the same goal as last season, be the final team standing.
All the guys that I looked up to growing up at least won one championship. So now it's just a conversation of how great are you trying to be.
This is the best that I've ever felt, and the hardest that I've ever worked. In the midst of traveling, I've been able to, balance that with really getting after it. So I'm excited.
Boston opens the season on October 22nd at home, hosting the New York Knicks. To the soccer pitch and over in Dexter, the Tigers girls soccer team is in their first season of 8-player soccer, and they are killing it. The girls have won their first 7 games to start the season. They are outscoring their opponents by a whopping 55-8 margin. The Tigers have a ton of experience together, and they say the reason for their early success is their ability to work as a team.
I think we definitely have some key players that are working really hard to do a lot better in scoring for us, and I think we're really selfless, so we're always just finding the right person to pass. Like, not everybody wants to be the lead scorer, so we're just finding the person who's most likely going to score.
I think the biggest thing for us has been the lack of selfishness, and everyone wants what's best for each other, but we also want to push each other to do our best.
Even though their play on the field suggests different, it still is the first time they've played the game with only 8 players on the pitch. Maine became the first state in the U.S. to offer varsity 8-player soccer last fall. Dexter joining up this season. They say it definitely took some getting used to, but they've enjoyed the extra spacing it provides.
A lot more running, a lot more space, open space to move, get the ball movement. I personally like it a lot. There's less people on the field, and then there's just more space to pass, but I honestly like it a lot because we're taking advantage of that space, and there's a lot of room for combinations and just different passing. And
wishing them luck the rest of the way. Over to some field hockey now. We'll check up on a matchup up in Old Town. The Coyotes playing host to the Pirates from Piscataquis. Second quarter is where we'll start. Coyotes' Ruby Shaw with it. She comes away with a steal, looking for Natalie Fournier on the inside, but Ava Goulet gets her stick on it and clears it out. Nice defensive play from the Pirates. Second half now. Piscataquis with a great look at a shot. Olivia Goodwin here is going to get it, leaves it for Molly Goodwin. She fires, and that is just wide of the net. Still scoreless here. Time winding down in the fourth quarter. Old Town on a corner. Shaw gets it in to Fournier. She fires, redirected to Phoebe Yerxa. Phoebe battling, looking to get a shot in close. Gets denied over to Sophia Morgan, but the PCHS defense would hold on. They go on to win it 1-0 in overtime. Over to Cameron Stadium now in Bangor for a Class A matchup. Rams hosting the Mount Ararat Eagles. We picked this one up late in the first half, tied 1-1. Bangor gets a shot on net, but it's Brady Yazwinski who tips it over the crossbar to keep it tied. To the second half now. Ball is played to Brennan Fitzpatrick at the doorstep, but it's denied by Maddox Smith. The Eagles would make it 2-1 shortly after, and we're on the attack again, but Smith makes another save. That hits the post. It's loose in front of the net, but he gets up and gets to the ball in time to keep it within 1, but the Eagles would prove too much. Aaron Paul taps in a juicy rebound to seal this one. Mount Ararat goes on to win. 3-1 is the final. Across the river to Hedrick Field, Brewer hosting the Dragons out of Brunswick. First half, Dragons with a chance. Jacob Samuel and Eli Willett in a race to the ball. Willett wins, but can't get it out of bounds. Samuel gets it back, tries a shot, but Willett and the Witches kick it out. Nice defense from Brewer. Still in the first, Asher Fouché with a good ball here to Jolson Malongo. A touch pass to Samuel. Samuel is going to beat his man to the corner, bring it back into the box, and fire point blank. That makes it 2-0 Brunswick. Later in the first, the Dragons have it again. Martini to Judah Greenwald settles and shoots from way out, and that gets in despite a great effort from Willett. Dragons go on to win 8-0. All right, and for some other scores from around the area, Camden Hills beats Bangor in field hockey 3-0. John Bapst over Herman in boys soccer 7-0 the final there. Class A girls soccer, Brewer picks up a win on the road against the Dragons 1-0. And a big Class C boys soccer matchup, George Stevens takes down Orono 5-2. All right, that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
When Angus got elected, he said he wanted to stand up for Maine's veterans. He wanted to give back to those that served, and I believe he's done that time and time again, year after year. From healthcare access to burn pit exposure, as well as housing, he's helped veterans every step of the way. I can't think of a better person to go back to Washington, D.C. and fight for us. And I can't be more proud to support this fine gentleman. I'm Travis Mills.
And I'm Angus King, and I'm proud to approve this message.
For best value, go with the longest lasting brand, Toyota. And at the Toyota Best Value event, you could get $4.99 for $60 on a ready-for-anything all-wheel drive RAV4 with a ready-to-impress refined interior. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
The longest lasting brand.
So for a vehicle with long-lasting value, see your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes and More has a team of experts trained in pet orthotics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Marvel reveals a first look, the Tony Awards pick a venue, and more.
Fox's Ashley DeVorkin has all those stories and more in today's Hollywood Nation.
There are bad guys, and there are worse guys.
Thunderbolts team up, The Boss live in Jersey, and the Tonys return to Radio City in today's Hollywood Nation. The Tony Awards will return to Radio City Music Hall in New York City for the 78th annual ceremony, honoring the top shows on Broadway in the 2024 through 2025 season. The Tonys air Sunday, June 8th on CBS and stream on Paramount+. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band have released a live album of their Asbury Park, New Jersey show about a week after the concert. The September 15th quick turnaround of the hometown performance is available on CD and streaming.
Look at you. So adorable.
In today's first looks, a teaser trailer for the Marvel Studios action-packed adventure Thunderbolts debuted. The superstar cast of this unlikely band of misfits teaming up includes Florence Pugh, David Harbour, and Sebastian Stan. The film is in theaters May 2nd, 2025.
Rome has taken everything from me, but I will have my vengeance.
Plus, there's another look at Gladiator 2. A new trailer for director Ridley Scott's epic sequel has been released. The ancient Rome story of power, intrigue, and vengeance stars Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, and Pedro Pascal. It's in theaters November 22nd.
The odds are against you. The odds are always against me.
In Hollywood, Ashley DeVorkin, Fox News.
Well, while some regions of the country are praying for rain, others are hoping for an end to the frequent showers.
But according to a new study, it's all part of a growing trend of extreme weather events that researchers call the new norm. Fox's Ted Linder takes a closer look at the impacts of the nation's changing climates, especially when it comes to a vital cash crop that many rely on.
While weather can be unpredictable, new research from The Ohio State University is spelling out a gloomy forecast for the future.
Our study was looking at precipitation extremes, so either 3-month droughts or 3-month wet periods, what we call pluvials, to see if there have been trends over the last, looking back roughly 1,000 years through the present.
From their findings, scientists say the severe droughts that impact the Southwest and the more intense rainstorms that swamp the Northeast are now the new modern norms millions should come to expect. Adding these patterns may only become worse in the future. Meanwhile, the research indicates that states in the middle of the country should brace for a mixture of extremes.
So in general, the summer droughts are becoming drier. The winter pluvials are becoming wetter.
While the altered climates are impacting many industries,
wetter wets and drier dries is particularly challenging for farmers.
It's leading teams at Bayer Crop Science to develop a new, stronger, and shorter type of corn to withstand heavy winds and rely on less water.
That's keeping us a lot less chance of green snap or lodging, especially late season.
According to the Department of Agriculture, America is the largest producer, consumer, and exporter of corn in the world. The short corn is being tested on roughly 35,000 acres in the Midwest. Bayer hopes to expand production of the crop in 2027. Ted Linder, Fox News.
All right, now here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with one final look at our forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the perfect fit for your new fall footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, here we go. Some areas of dense fog this morning, but overall we're looking pretty good across our neck of the woods. Any fog being reported may be across parts of Washington County. It looks to be about it. Maybe a small area further off towards the west. But meanwhile, we do have a small crowd advisory posted along the coast, and that will last until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday. Wave heights continue to remain active in those areas at around 6 feet according to the buoys, but really active further out towards sea. 10 to 11 feet being reported according towards some of the buoys, at least at this time. On land, not too bad. Clouds are approaching this morning. We'll be watching for more clouds throughout the daytime period today. Some sprinkles or light showers can't be ruled out. Better opportunities for rain will arrive later on tonight, especially as we head towards the daytime period tomorrow with the system right here that's tracking off towards the north and east. Now check this out. We now have Tropical Storm Helene intensifying quickly. Look at this right here. These darker clouds here indicating the colder cloud tops, and that definitely indicates a strengthening tropical storm right now with sustained winds. That's how we classify this at around 60 miles per hour. We do have tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings posted even through parts of Florida, so that's the main concern, as rapid intensification is expected with the system, as they're now forecasting 120 miles per hour. That's a Category 3 hurricane as it makes landfall Thursday evening in Florida, so time's running out for those people in that area to prepare. So if you know anyone down there, make sure they're paying attention to the system rather closely and prepared to evacuate. Back here at home, we just have clouds passing through with a few chances for sprinkles or light showers today. Later on tonight, we'll be watching for more rain that will be on the way. Better opportunities for the rain will get going as we head towards your Thursday. Some heavy downpours will be possible at times, and the rain will finally start to clear out a bit as we head towards Thursday night and parts of early Friday morning. But however, a few showers will remain. As for your forecast for today, we do have middle 60s, mostly cloudy, sprinkles on the way. Southeast wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, lower 50s, mostly cloudy, some fog possible. Showers moving late with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, upper 50s, rain likely. Areas of dense fog on the way. Southeast wind getting up to around 20 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. More showers possible Friday with highs in the upper 60s. Upper 60s again for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy and a little warmer on Sunday with highs in the low 70s.
There's what Jared Golden says, then there's what he's always done. In Maine, he voted to protect sanctuary cities and provide welfare to illegal immigrants. Voted to allow those benefits to be used for liquor and bail. In Congress, Golden supported amnesty but opposed funding the wall and border patrol. What Jared Golden says on immigration isn't what he does. And now Maine is paying the price. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Taking the time to savor Thomas's crunchy yet soft bagels.
Thanks, Tom.
It's Tom, actually.
Right, Tom.
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 You doing that on purpose?
Tam.
Tam.
How have we got to Tam?
Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
When Northern Power Wash Company, located in Bangor, wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Northern Power Wash provides outstanding pressure washing, window and gutter cleaning services to Eastern and Central Maine. Call Todd at 881-3680 today for a free estimate.
You can feel it when your dream becomes a pursuit. And with vitiligo, the pursuit for your pigment is no exception. It's time you had a proven choice to help restore what's yours. Opzelura is the first and only FDA-approved prescription treatment for non-segmental vitiligo. Proven to help repigment skin over time. Restoring what's yours. It's possible with a steroid-free cream that you can apply yourself.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB or hepatitis B or C. Serious lung infections, skin cancer, blood clots, and low blood cell counts occurred with Opzelura. In people taking JAK inhibitors, serious infections, increased risk of death, lymphoma, other cancers, and major cardiovascular events have occurred. The most common side effects were acne and itching where applied.
Repigmentation is possible. Ask your dermatologist today about starting or refilling Opzelura. Pursue it.
Chilean wingsuit flyer Sebastian Alvarez combined two of his favorite hobbies, skydiving and surfing, to perform a world-first skydive to surf jump. Alvarez did the stunt on December 19th last year, but Red Bull released the footage on Tuesday, days ahead of the Surf Abu Dhabi facility hosting its first professional surfing competition, the Abu Dhabi Longboard Classic. Alvarez said he comes from a surfing family and has always wanted to combine his passion for skydiving and surfing together.
Kind of neat.
Yeah, it sounds like overachieving to me.
Yeah,
He's doing all the stuff.
Yeah, they do something with rafts here in Maine where they'll skydive and sometimes they'll even land in a raft. They did that a couple of years ago.
That's crazy.
So,
I do want to see that, though.
Yeah, I'll have to try it the next time I have my wingsuit on. And,
yeah.
You know, when I'm soaring around
Next
Bangor.
time you're pretending to be a flying squirrel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, looks like we're about out of time for now. If you missed anything, head to foxbangor.com.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, she plays T'Lyn on Star Trek Lower Decks. But if you're watching this from your parents' basement, you probably already knew that. It's Gabrielle Ruiz. And joining Gabrielle are mother and son, Matthew and Sue. He started out as a member of the boy band 3D. Now he's appearing on a game show that can barely afford to be in 2D. It's Delon Burnside. And joining him are our returning champion sorority sisters, Kanisha and Kelly. And now here's your host, Meredith Vieira.
Coming to you in 3D, baby. Welcome to 25 Words or Less. Hi, everybody. Nice to see all your beautiful faces.
Hi, Meredith.
Hey. Hey, Gabrielle, you were with me. Well, you've been with me for many seasons now, but last year when we were in L.A., your wonderful husband, Philip, he drove to the lot in his car. In the back seat, he had a loaf of bread that he had made that was still warm.